Have you ever been betrayed? Maybe let down by someone that you had put some trust in? Today we're going to talk about how Jesus stood alone. If you recall from the last few days, we've talked about different prayers that Jesus prayed, about how he led his disciples out to an isolated garden. Now once he got there, he left most of his disciples in one area, but he took with him Peter, James, and John, his inner three. And they go off a short distance where Jesus tells them, hey, I want you to stay awake and I want you to pray. And then Jesus goes a short distance further and prays by himself. Now Jesus gets up multiple times throughout this prayer time and comes back and checks on his disciples. Twice he finds them asleep and twice he wakes them up, saying, hey, stay awake, pray. Now the third time he comes back and finds them asleep, he is clearly frustrated. And he wakes them up and kind of chastises them a little bit, but at this point he has bigger issues. See, Luke tells us in chapter 2 that while Jesus was still speaking, suddenly a mob was there, and one of the 12 named Judas was leading them. Judas came near to Jesus to kiss him, that way he could identify Jesus as the one that the mob was supposed to take. But Jesus calls him out and says, Judas, are you betraying the Son of Man with a kiss? What a terrible moment. Jesus knows what's happening, it's incredibly personal, and he's being betrayed by a man that he loves. Jesus has spent the last 3 years with Judas, pouring into him, teaching him, discipling him pretty much every single day. And yet, all because of money and the love of money, Judas has walked away from Jesus and betrays him now. Now, do you know what Jesus does in this moment? Nothing. He doesn't turn and run away. He doesn't incite his disciples and his followers to take up arms and defend him, even though it's very clear they were willing to do so. Peter cuts off a dude's ear in this moment. No, Jesus doesn't do these things. Instead, he calmly goes with the crowd, taking time to heal the person that had his ear cut off, a man that was going to lead him to his trial and crucifixion. He takes time to heal him. I want to point out 2 different things. First, we have Judas, a guy that had witnessed Jesus do miracles, witnessed Jesus' teachings, see Jesus do all the things in his ministry, and yet he loved money more than Christ. He walked away and betrayed Christ. Then we also see these 3 disciples that Jesus had asked, hey, do one simple thing. Stay awake and pray for me. And they had let him down. All of this is culminated by the fact that as Jesus is being led away with the mob, all of his disciples flee. They run, they want nothing to do with this moment. And Jesus goes into his trial alone, abandoned by all the people that he had taken so much time to pour into. I know this seems like a really bleak picture, but I want us to make sure that we grasp the really important part of it. See, Jesus did this. Jesus went in by himself, standing alone, because he alone had to bear the weight of our sins. He alone paid the punishment for you and for me. Talk about love. Give that a thought this Tuesday morning as you go throughout your day-to-day life. Jesus stood alone because of the love that he had for you and for me.